Yeah, trendsetter, whoa, league of my own, it don't get better. No, read what I wrote, I'm a bestseller. Yeah, reach for my goals, hit it dead center, hit it dead center. Bullseye, hit it the most, is no misses. Something like fish in a barrel, it's no different. Blindfold on me, I still got the most vision. Trendsetter.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Carnivore Evolution. Today we have as our guests Mary Ellen and Robert Hanna from Ireland. They have a lot to tell us about their carnivore journeys and a company that they've developed around beef tallow. Hello and welcome, Mary Ellen and Robert. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you.
Hi,
Hello, how are you
Victoria.
doing?
Hi, Victoria.
Hello.
Thanks for having me
Hello.
on. How are you?
Hello there. I'm very well. Thank you for asking. Now we'd like to start. I'd like to hear from, I understand Mary Ellen started Carnivore before you did, Robert. So Mary Ellen, can you tell us about your interest in carnivore, how you worked up to getting to starting the diet?
I was kind of looking into how to lose weight because I had tried, we'll say go back 4 years, I had twins. And prior to that, I have two older children and I was able to lose the weight easier for the first two pregnancies. So this time around, obviously carrying twins, I carried a little bit more weight and it was just a little bit more difficult after having the girls. So that's why I initially looked into it. And then my eldest son was going out with a girl at the time and she mentioned the carnivore diet. So I'd never heard about it. So I looked into it and initially I thought it was bonkers because it went against everything we've been taught.
Yeah.
So the more I looked into it and the more podcasts I listened to and it started to make sense. So about a year and a half ago, I think I started, and at the time I was joined a gym and they were measuring my weight and my fat and all of that. So I had mentioned it to the trainer and he was trying to tell me don't do it. It's not recommended. But I went ahead and did it anyway. So I went back after 10 days and I had lost 4.5% body fat in 10 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
On a high fat diet.
On a
Oh,
high
that's
fat
interesting.
diet. Yeah.
Amazing.
Couldn't believe my energy. Couldn't believe the brain fog was gone. Now, this was just the initial first few weeks.
Wow.
And I started to notice my skin was better, sinus, all of those kind of things in a few weeks. So I knew there was something to it. So
Wonderful.
that was the start of it. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. So I guess you maybe made a convert out of your trainer, huh?
Yeah, well, believe it or not, I actually stopped going then after that because I wanted to see if this would work solely on changing my diet, and I wanted to leave the
Yes.
exercise and all of that out of it. So I did, and I've never been to a gym since.
Ah, yeah.
So I stayed away from the gym and I just continued with the diet, and yeah, still doing it today.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
hmm
That's good to hear. So how about you, Robert? When did you start the diet?
So, yeah, I started the diet. It was about after Mare got the information on the carnivore diet itself. She was looking into it for a number of months before she started. But when she started, and I saw the difference in her hair and her skin, and I saw that in 10 days she lost that percentage of body fat, I knew that it was the truth. I knew I'm a chef by trade. I've learned that eating I suppose I was eating all types of foods, but I was eating a lot of deep fried foods. In restaurants, you would have been cooking a lot with vegetable oils and seed oils. So that was my kind of understanding, my belief that all these were great. But I was in a place where my body and my weight was really inflamed. I was really tired. I was really lethargic. I was down about my size. I was down that I didn't have the energy to play with the girls. So it was getting me down in general. But when I saw the difference in Mir, I knew it was the truth, but I panicked so much that I ran away again for about another six or
Sounds like
seven.
no.
I'd say it was about another 6 months, 6 or 7 months. I just ran away from it. I concentrated on as Mira always looked after her skin. she had an insecurity to freckles years ago, so she always looked after her skin. Now, while she was using cosmetics, and she was using the top of the range cosmetics like Dino and Dermalogica and other cosmetics like that, she came across the beef tallow in her skin and realized her skin was so much better noticeably. So she said to me, "What I wonder what we could do topically rather than internally." So, being a chef by trade, we were looking into beef tallow and we went down the rabbit holes and we realized that it was great for skincare. Now, I have a rare form of eczema in my hands, which is great now, but I had to quit chefing over it years ago. So I kind of we went down that route of making the beef tallow products for a while, and I was getting drip fed by Mare on her diet, by all the doctors and carnivore podcasts. So I was getting an understanding. And then later on, I decided, right, I'm ready to go to take it on. And when I took it on, that was it. The most amazing changes. I don't veer off it. I don't have cheat days. I'm very strict. Um, I just I like the food I eat now, and I like the way I am today. I went from 19 stone to today I'm 13, which is
Wow.
yeah.
Wow, that's considerable. Now, did I understand that you had some impact on your health and from on the inflammation that had been happening to you when you ate before carnivore? Tell us about that, please.
Yeah, so the first thing, one of the things that was really getting me down and worrying was when I was sleeping during the night. I'd go to bed and maybe a couple of hours in sleeping, I'd wake up, I wasn't able to breathe. I used to eat boxes of Rennie tablets for acid reflux. But whatever happened when I was sleeping, whether acid reflux started coming up my throat, I'd wake up not able to breathe. I'd be jumping at the side of the bed trying to get my breath. I couldn't breathe. I was told it was kind of a sleep apnea, acid reflux mix, and
Mm-hmm.
I was pure panicked. This wasn't happening to me, only until maybe that number of months or maybe that year before I was going on to carnivore. That was happening every so often. It didn't happen all the time, but happened every so often. But I found it very worrying to go back to kind of rest and go back to sleep again because I was afraid it would happen again straight away. And that was a real worry for me. That was really making me say, okay, I need to do something about my food and my diet. And I think it was the Lent before last. I said, okay, I made a start before carnivore, but I said a prayer to God and I asked for help to give up potatoes, sweets, um, chocolate, fizzy drinks, all the snacks, the dry roasted peanuts. So I prayed to God at Lent that He'd help me for 40 days to stay away from these sweets and toxic foods that I was eating and sugar. And I stayed off it for 40 days. And on Easter Sunday, not gone, the one before, I said, God, I was praying. We both went to mass, and Mayor was listening to the priest, and I was talking to God, and I said, please, I don't want to go back eating sugary foods anymore. They're killing me. My dad is overweight. My dad has bad health issues. He's got diabetes. I said, this is what's for me ahead. I don't want to do it. And that day we went for a coffee and Mayor said, oh, Lent is over. I can have a chocolate bar. And all of a sudden I said, okay, what do I do now? And I haven't had them since. So that was the start of my changing my diet, and the carnivore was next after that.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. What a wonderful story. 40 days, huh? That's
Yeah.
great. I love that story. How about you, Mary? Have you seen some health issues relieved by the carnivore diet?
Well, for me at the beginning, it was more, I suppose, vanity really. It was about my weight. Even though
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of petite, I'm only 5'3". I never really carried much weight, but I definitely had a little bit extra this time round. So, for me, it was for the weight initially, but I couldn't believe the more that I stayed on it, my sinus went. And at the time I was doing carnivore, I was still listening to um, Kerry from Homestead, how Dr. Anthony Chafee. So it was kind of they were all American based because we very little
Mm-hmm.
expose in Ireland. Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth Bright.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a few different Nutrition by Judy, Steak and Butter
Yes.
Gal. There's a few of them, and um, they were all saying very similar things. So for me, it was a huge thing for me was when my menstrual cycle. So every month, I'm 40 this year. So for 38 years of my life, 39 years of my life, I would have always suffered every month. My
Mm-hmm.
cramps would have been really bad, and I would have always had to take pain relief. So I'd say maybe 3 months into the carnivore diet, I remember I was listening to Dr. Elizabeth Bright, and she was saying that it's so important for women and our hormones, reproductive system. And she said that we should not feel the pain that we feel. So, 3 months in, I ended up having my normal menstrual cycle and no pain. Couldn't believe it.
Wonderful,
Couldn't.
wonderful. Oh,
Yeah.
I wish that I wish I'd had the carnivore diet back then.
Yeah, so I
Um,
was I was so grateful. I couldn't believe it. And when all of these started happening, I couldn't deny it anymore. I couldn't deny how we really, really do need animal fat in our diet. Mhm.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, and fantastic that that helped you so much.
Yeah.
That's really great. Yeah, I can relate to that. I went through a life of endometriosis and PCOS,
Yeah.
and I'm also the mother of twins.
Oh,
Oh, very
oh my
good.
God.
Mine are 38 years old, so it's
Okay.
been a while. Yeah. Oh, good.
Mhm.
So you spoke about the skincare business that you have, and that you had started that before you went carnivore. Is that the case?
It was after I started before
I
um,
started.
Before Robert started.
started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Right. So tell me a little bit about how you developed that, and what what brought you to the idea of using beef tallow? How did that come about?
Um, I had noticed the difference in my skin, even though I'd used a lot of cosmetics throughout my life, and I can't knock them, but I now realize that there's a lot of chemicals in them also, and they do disrupt your hormones. Um, your skin is the biggest organ in your body, so whatever you put on your skin, is absorbed into your body. So I suppose we started learning that over the last few years, and it was it was very visible to me that by eating a lot of animal fat, my skin was really, really good from it. So I just passed a comment one night, not thinking. I just mentioned to Robbie that I wonder if we turned it into a cream. And I'm great for ideas. I'm never the person to follow it through, but he's definitely the person to follow it through. So that's all I had to do was mention it to him, and that's how it started. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Mhm.
I've seen your website, and I've actually purchased something and waiting for it to arrive. But I was very happy to see that you have a very extensive line of well thought out products for skincare. And at my age, I'm 73. I've used a lot of skincare in my life,
Mhm.
and I like the idea that you have some products that withhold the essential oils, which I
Yeah.
personally find a little irritating.
Mhm.
So I've tried a couple of products, and I've even made my own at home. Did you make some at home first before you started manufacturing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were making these, I suppose, for a number of months first. We were doing hot pouring balms, and we were doing whipped creams as well. And we were doing with and without the essential oils. As I said, I have a
Yeah.
rare form of eczema. So for me, I found that if ever I had a flare up with my eczema, if I never wore gloves when I was cooking, my hands would be very, very bad for a while, and it'd just really get you down because it'd be so itchy, the skin would be blistering. But using our balm, using beef tallow on our skin, the balms, my hands would be back to normal within 2 days. So
Mhm.
I never had this years ago when I ended up quitting chefing. I was put on steroids, steroid creams, or oral steroids. I was put on loads of moisturizers, and I was doing patch testing for my skin condition, and none of them helped. None of them, they caused my skin to be very, very thin. The steroids, and today they're still very thin because of the steroid use over the years. But the balm, if I don't have any issues with my hands today, because the balm, within 2 or 3 days my hands are back to normal, and they haven't been
Wonderful.
in a long, long
Mhm.
time. But that's the benefit of beef tallow. Beef tallow is full of vitamins and nutrients. It's amazing for the skin. It's amazing for skin conditions. And that's kind of, we started making it, and then we started bringing it to markets around the Christmas time of
Mhm.
2024, and
Mm.
people started to kind of go, oh, okay, this is new, this is different.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This isn't plant based. And they kept saying it's not plant based. I said no, it's not water based. It's plant
No
based.
surprise.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
and
Mhm.
yeah,
hmm.
and some people were really like, okay, so it's totally different. Yeah, I said we were the opposite end. It's oil based and meat based, so it's animal based. They're
Mhm.
like, okay. And then when they try it at the market, they put it on their hand, put it on their skin, and if they put it on their hand, they're walking around the market like this, doing that, going, oh, it feels beautiful. But it does. It feels so
Hmm.
amazing on the skin. Uh,
Yes,
yeah, it's very hydrating and nourishing as well.
wonderful, wonderful. I'd like to go and ask you a question about your life with carnivore. Um, are you still chefing? Did you go back to chefing at all
No,
professionally or?
no, I haven't been back to chefing in a long time, and luckily enough, ironically, I ended up giving up chefing because of a skin condition, and then we end up making creams for skin conditions.
That's
So
wonderful.
it's
Hmm.
really, really amazing. So God works in mysterious ways when you have skills from early on,
Yeah.
to be able to use them later on in something totally different is amazing. Yeah, but I haven't been back to chefing. No.
Are you cooking at home? Are you doing the cooking of
Yeah.
the carnivore cooking? And how do you find that? And how does your experience come into that when
Well,
you're cooking carnivore?
I love cooking. We do steaks,
Hmm.
beef patties, beef burgers. I have a fry 7 days a week, so I do rashers, eggs. I do pudding and sausages.
Mhm.
The highest meat content we can find in sausages and pudding. But I do love those. And that's what I have 7 days a week. I have a fry 7 days a week. So people ask me, how did you lose all the weight? How come you went, in such a short space of time? And I tell them I eat a fry 7 days a week, and they
Hmm.
say, a fry 7 days a week. Yeah.
Yes.
Cooked in beef tallow.
Some people actually don't. They
Oh
look
my gosh.
and they don't believe it because it's not what we've been taught growing up. You know, people. Some people probably think we're crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. It's so surprising. It still
Yeah.
is to me, and I'm seven years into it. It's wonderful though. Yes,
Yeah.
fat
Hmm.
makes you slender.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so
It's
funny.
amazing.
It's
Hmm.
amazing. But
Yes.
I think just learning the science behind it, putting good fats, your body's
Hmm.
fueling on fats instead of carbs. And putting good fats into your body burns your visceral fat,
Hmm.
and
Mhm.
you start losing the bad fats in your body. And that's all you got to keep doing. Keep putting in good fats, good protein, good meats, and everything will work out. It'll all go the way you're supposed to
And
go.
good salt as well,
Good
isn't
salt,
it? Yeah.
yeah, water,
Hmm.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, lovely, lovely.
Yeah.
Have you introduced any ketogenic concepts to your children's diets?
Yes. Slowly, isn't it? There's still a
Mm.
few things that they eat a lot of meat. One of the girls in particular eats a lot of butter.
Butter.
Yeah.
Our teenage daughter is getting better at having steaks or eggs with butter in it.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Because again, it's very important. Dr. Elizabeth Bright currently has two books out, I believe. One is focused on menopause, and one is focusing on teenagers, because it's very, very important when you're developing as a teenager to have animal fats in your diet. So she's at that stage, and so we're hoping that we can get a lot of animal fat into her diet
Yeah.
now, you know, when
That
it's
is
important. Yeah.
wonderful,
Hmm.
wonderful.
Yeah.
So you can do this diet and not exercise. Although I hear it's good for your bones and muscles to get some resistance training in.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So Robert, do you do any exercise?
Yeah, so I do exercise. I spent my life in sport early days. I was in all types of sport between football, soccer, tennis, hurling,
Mhm.
handball, lots of sports. But
Hmm.
it was only later on when you're working, you're kind of, you don't want to get hurt. You don't want to be out for weeks, lose a wage. So I kind of eased off on the sport. Then the weight started to come on as I was getting older. But yeah, right now I go to the gym. I For the first 6.5 months on the carnivore diet, I lost 4.5 stone.
Hmm.
So 4.5 stone in kilos is roughly maybe 25, 26 kilos. I think I'm 31, maybe 32 kilos down since day one now. Um, yeah, but
Fantastic.
yeah, it's amazing. And I did that the first 6.5 months with no gym. That was just changing my
Hmm.
food.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was getting rid of carbs, getting rid of sugar, and getting rid of all the sweet stuff as well. And yeah, 4.5 stone, 6 months, and then I started going back to the gym. So lately, as I found that the diet is very good for helping you to stay disciplined,
Mhm.
not veering off the track. So I've added kind of just a bit of a challenge for myself in the last 100 days. I've about 7 or 8 days left, but I do 100 push-ups a day every day. So I'll have 10,000 push-ups done by the end of my 100 days, and I'm about
Oh my
7 days
gosh.
away. I have about 700 push-ups left to do. So
Bravo.
yeah,
That's fantastic. I can do 10 and I think I'm hot stuff here.
Yeah, me too.
Oh,
yeah,
that's so funny. That's excellent. Good for
yeah,
you.
yeah. It's
Good
great.
Yeah.
job. Oh, wow. Yeah, I think that people who are overweight should be careful when they exercise. And that's what I like about this diet. It helps you lose weight soon enough that then you feel that you have the energy to do some kind of exercise, whether it's, casual or organized or at a gym. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
I met a guy in the
Oh,
gym. I was telling Mark, I met a guy in the gym, and he just reminded me of me really, being overweight on a
Mhm.
treadmill, and you really want to lose the weight. But
mhm.
I just felt so sorry for him. I felt so empathetic. Not saying he has the worst life in the world. It's just I knew what it was like to be on a gym, overweight,
Yes,
really wanting to lose the weight. But
Mhm.
I was missing the big picture. I was missing that it's all to do with my diet and not to do with the gym. And I walked over to him and I asked him, I said, look, sorry, is there any chance? Because I thought he was going to have a heart attack. He was just really, he was beating his knees, beating his legs. It was so
yes,
stressful for him.
exactly.
And I said to him, I said, look, would you be open to a suggestion? And he said, oh, yeah, definitely. And I just turned around. His son was there at the time. And I said, the gym is great, but go
Mhm.
home, stay away from the gym for the first few months. I said, look into the carnivore journey. I'll leave you the links and information to different doctors, different people just to follow and watch for the next few weeks. I said, in 6 months' time, come back to the gym. You'll be half the man you are, and you will love the gym. You
Yeah.
will flourish, but
Yes.
it won't be stressful. It won't be hard. You will be down so much. You'll feel so much better. And he just thought, wow, amazing. Now, I haven't met him since. I'm hoping that he might have looked into it, but I left all the information for
Mhm.
him. I told him there's an easier way than really killing yourself on the treadmill, causing so much stress on the body. So hopefully he's after maybe finding that path.
Mm.
Exactly. That's wonderful advice. I totally agree with that because it's scary how we think that, well, once we start at the gym, we'll exercise our fat away, and that's not going to happen.
No.
So many people I see that, yeah, they have that same mindset. Unfortunately, we're all victims of that kind of information, and people
Mhm.
do harm themselves. They do mess up their knees and their backs.
Mhm.
They're in for trouble if they try that too soon.
Mm.
So, yeah, well, that's very good of you to say that. Well, that's one person we can help.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I find it a little difficult to tell people about it. Certainly not my family. My family's not very accepting of it.
okay,
And
Okay.
when I watch the grandkids, I'm not allowed to give them anything that has a laboratory sweetener in it. So they their mother would rather they have sugar than anything like that. So
okay.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? It's very hard to see that, isn't it? Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
and they're big on the carbohydrates and they like to bake at home. So
Okay.
they do try to get whole foods and they do buy organic stuff, but yeah,
Mhm.
it's difficult. And of course the kids go to school and they have friends and they socialize and they see everyone eating the carbs
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
and the hamburgers from whatever, fast food place. So that's difficult.
Yeah,
Mm.
Keep it keep it going.
it's hard to change habits of a lifetime too. And
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
suppose when I look at our own habits, our mom and dad, my parents, Mare's parents, they they just kind of passed on what they knew themselves to be right.
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
yeah, and you can see now that, like, mam, my mam now, my dad, while he's in bad health, my mam sees the benefits of the
Mm-hmm.
carnivore diet. She really looks into it. She really sees it, and she's trying
Good.
to implement
And
more
she's
and more
made
and
a
more.
lot of
A lot
changes.
of changes
Yeah.
in her life.
Mhm.
Yeah. While
Mm-hmm.
dad sees it, he's just so long doing this carbohydrate and sugar
And he has a
life,
sugar
Mhm.
sugar
addiction.
addiction,
Yeah.
and I'm just trying to get him to see that the reason it's so hard to stop is because we are addicts to this food, to this
Mm-hmm.
carbohydrates and sugar. We are addicts, and it's hard to admit that. It's hard to admit we have a problem stopping. And
Yeah.
hopefully he'll see the benefit. He does see the benefits in me and others, but hopefully he'll make that jump down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, it's unfortunate, and I wish I'd known about carnivore and even keto when I was raising my kids,
Mm-hmm.
because they all grew up on breakfast cereal
Yes.
and bread and potatoes and chips and that kind of thing. Well, not too much junk food, not too much sugar, but I can't get any of them to appreciate carnivore.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not. I have one son who lives with me, and he's the Mr. Fitness, and he's chicken, broccoli, and rice, which is that famous combination you may be familiar with.
Yeah.
That is what the bodybuilders think is the ideal diet, and in my home, that's what he prepares for himself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he eats. So it's hard. It's very hard to get around that. And being 7 years into it, I'm just like, come on already, get with it. But
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it's funny. I don't want to jump around too much, but I want to go back to talking about Divine Skincare and how you decided to on a farm to get the resources to make your products from, and that process. Can you tell me a little bit about that? And also, I wondered, do they sell meat retail? Will they sell it to the average citizen, or are they only wholesale?
Okay. So we get our tallow from a company called the Good Herdsman, and they're down in Cashel, County Tipperary, by a man that we met called John Purcell. We, I suppose, early days in making the products, some of our friends were talking about our products to other people,
Mm-hmm.
and they spoke to a man called Mark Atwood. Mark Atwood does podcasts himself, and he invited us on a podcast early days. He has a clinic. It's a health clinic up in Roscommon, up the top of the country,
Hmm.
and it's called Live 5D Health.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, it's all red light therapy and different types of kind of health healing kind of therapeutics that you do. And he's very, very good because they kind of make it where people try out what's there, and
Mm-hmm.
they can leave kind of like a what am I looking
A
for? A
donation.
donation. If they can pay their way, great. If they
Mm-hmm.
can't, they give a donation. And sometimes they're fine with people not able to pay at all. So they're very
Oh,
good.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking to get a few of those clinics up and down the country. But he wanted to know more about our beef tallow, and he did a podcast with us. And for the next number of weeks, maybe a month or two, we were shipping to Australia, Canada, parts of Europe, England, and Ireland, and he was getting questions: was our beef tallow certified organic at that point?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we were getting what we could say was organic tallow because it was some of the best tallow you could get locally through two butchers locally in our town and the next town. While they weren't certified, the way farms run here in Ireland, they run at such a high level that it's as close to organic as
Mm-hmm.
possible. But they didn't go through the hoops of getting certified, all the red tape. So we looked into getting certified, and two friends of ours down in Tipperary, they put us on to John Purcell. John Purcell is an certified organic farmer in Ireland, one of the biggest in Europe, and he wanted to supply our tallow. He heard some testimonies from people that had great results with skin
Mm-hmm.
conditions like eczema and psoriasis from the beef tallow we were making, and he wanted to supply us the tallow. So we told him it was about the kidney suet, because the kidney tallow is the most vitamin and nutrient dense, and it has healing benefits. And he was very surprised. He loved the idea of it, that it wasn't just a mixture of fat, it was specific kidney fat, kidney suet,
Mm-hmm.
the best that you could get. And the fact that they have all their farms running at certified organic level, the fat was noticeably different. Even though the organic fat was amazing, the local fat, you could noticeably see the difference in the color, which was more yellow. The odor of the fat was slightly less, which was great. And we got to see how they ran the farm, which was amazing. How the animals were kept was they were treated so well. Was brilliant, you know. So he supplies our tallow, and yeah, they have their own meat that is shipped to 7 countries in Europe, England and Ireland as well. But they deal in say superstores and chains rather than individual. So it gets sold in pallets rather than individual stock. So yeah, it's different.
Wow, that's so impressive. That's wonderful. Oh, he really got lucky to find them.
Yeah, he's
I
an
don't know
amazing
how
guy.
I don't know how I'd even start, but that sounds wonderful, and it certainly says a lot for the quality of your products.
Yeah, all that
Good.
we filled out an application recently with the Organic Trust. So they've taken our application, they're due to call out and inspect our products. And when they inspect the products, we have all certified organic ingredients. So the ingredients we use is all certified organic. They all have gone through their own certification processes. So we'd be the only one, from what I know so far, we'd probably be the only one in Ireland making beef tallow products that's certified organic. While most of them are grass-fed, grass-finished, we'll be certified organic, grass-fed, grass-finished tallow.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'll be sure to put the link to your website underneath in the description for our broadcasts.
No, thank you.
So what else would you like to tell us about your carnivore journey and Divine Skincare if you want?
I suppose it's been so amazing in terms of the health benefits. As I said, when I was talking to Mark, one of the major things that I noticed straight away within 10 days or 2 weeks was I had torn ligaments in my right ankle, and that they were torn years ago playing sport. But with ligaments, they find it harder to heal. I had a break in my left leg, which healed perfectly. Never had an issue for the rest of my life with that. Never have an issue with it. But the ligaments, unless you do proper physio and you do it right, it will always cause you later on. They'll always cause you issues because they're very easy to go over again. They're not fully strong, and I would swell when I was with the weight that I had. I was nearly 19 stone. I was on my feet all day. My ankles were swollen up like a balloon, and I'd ask Mare to kind of rub my feet at night time when I come in. I'd say, "Could you rub my ankle just to take the pain away?" The throbbing in my ankle was so annoying. It was like a really bad toothache. It was just throbbing on my foot all the time, and she'd do that for night after night after night. But 10 days to 2 weeks in on the carnivore diet, I was able to see my ankle again, which was great. And all the throbbing and the swelling was gone. Yeah, so
Really?
it was amazing.
Wow.
That was the first amazing thing I noticed was the
This is
inflammation.
amazing. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
After that, then I just started to lose the inflammation all over my face. My face was very puffy. I had about 3 or 4 chins. I suppose I put up on a TikTok. I did a TikTok basing it on our skincare and my carnivore journey. And since putting it up, people have contacted from all over the country, and we have a group called My Carnivore Journey on WhatsApp. So we give out all the information. I give out all the information to people when they contact. I say, look, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist. All I can do is speak on my own journey, but this is what I have found. I've went from 19 stone to 13. I can sleep better. I don't snore anymore. My sleep apnea is gone. I don't eat Rennie tablets anymore. I just eat meat, water, salt, eggs, and butter. That's it. Bacon. With no more sweets, no more fizzy drinks. And I give them that information, and then they come on the group later on, and then they start asking questions, and we all try to figure out the answers ourselves. We find the doctors who have the information, and we put up the information from YouTube links, and it's just to help each other along the way. A support group, basically. So we have that group now with about 20 something people from around the country. There's about 10 more that have to be added, and they all have different. One man has no colon. So
Really?
yeah, he's no colon. He was in a very, very bad way. When he saw my 10-month journey, he rang me. I was friends with him, so I used to call to his house doing a different job. And he said, I remember when you called, you were like this, you were huge. And he said, no, I can't get over it. And he wanted to know how to do it. So Mayor we sent him on a video of a man who got the information from Dr. Anthony Chaffee and took on the carnivore journey on
Kent Carnivore, I think he's called.
Kent Carnivore was his name, and he had no
Yes, I
colon.
know.
Yes, yeah.
And we sent him on that information, and he rang us later on that day, and he said it was like that man was telling my story. So he started. 3 weeks in, 3 or 4 weeks in, he rang and said, Rob, 3 days in this week were the best 3 days I've had in 12 years. And he's still on the journey. So we just, they're still on the group. They're all progressing. They're slowly healing. But loads of people are not only losing weight, they're feeling more energy. They're losing their inflammation. So it's great to be able to pass these things on. I tell everybody, it's not me. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. But eat good fats, good meat, and your life will change. And that's what seems to be happening to everybody.
And
So
stay away from vegetable, any
stay away
seed
from
oil.
seed oils. Yeah, which is just
Yes.
very
They're so
bad.
poisonous.
Yeah.
Well, it's fabulous that you have that group and the TikTok. And if you're willing to share that with me, I'll also add that to the description information for the broadcast.
Okay.
Okay, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I'd love to share that for you
Yeah.
if you're willing.
The TikTok
Oh,
is just
that's great.
called Divine Skincare 2. Just Divine Skincare 2, that's the handle on it. And it was basically started just to talk about the creams and to talk about the journey, because I couldn't get over what Carnivore Journey done for me in 1 year. And you just want to tell everybody and give it to everybody. I see people every day in my locality, in my town, and whether we go shopping, I see people who I know a long time. I watch them run the roads. I watched them run the roads for years. And they're doing the same thing, and they're never getting any thinner. They're never getting any healthier. They're never losing the weight. They're just battling this silent battle all the time in their lives. And
Yes.
you just want to reach out and tell them, there's another way. But
Yes.
but instead of reaching out, I didn't want to kind of grab people and say, listen, this is what you need to know. I just wanted to be that change. So people would ask me, what did you do? And then I could tell them.
Exactly.
That's the
Exactly.
difference, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. So I
Be
have
the
people.
change.
Be the change.
So
yeah.
be the change. And that's what I wanted to be for, not only for my family here, my children, myself, so we'll have a better quality of life and more time, quality time with them, but for my dad, for a couple of my friends that are overweight and they're diabetic, and then for the people that I've seen, and a few people have asked me, what have you done? And then they've asked, and we give the information. Some have started a journey, some are doing really, really well. Some panic and they don't start yet. They'll do it sometime, but there's a seed planted, and look, it gives them more information, so it's great.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a very big change, and it does frighten some people. I mean, culturally, we think we're eating healthfully, but we're not. And they don't spread the word about why. It's the content of what we're eating.
Yeah.
So that it is kind of scary that it's so hard, but I think little by little, I've watched it over the last 7 years grow. I've just watched it and this year especially, it's just quadrupled
Yeah.
in the extent of people. Have you seen that too? Yeah. So it's becoming more acceptable that people have seen that others have done it and lived, and not only lived but lived well.
Yeah.
So and gotten healthier.
And
So
we
that's
didn't have any heart attacks.
yes, you did. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope not. Wow. Well, thank you, folks. This has just been a wonderful conversation, and I appreciate it so much that you came on to talk to us.
Sure. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us on. Yeah, it's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, if that's all, then I guess we'll wrap up the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's no
Okay.
problem.
And thank you very much, and maybe we'll check in with you again soon.
Yeah, that's great. So listen, thanks for having us on. We really appreciate it. And
It's our pleasure.
we wish you all the best getting the word out there to everybody. And we look forward to watching more of your podcasts. So yeah, and hopefully you go onwards and upwards. It was really good. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks
for
Victoria.
working on spreading word. Thank you, Mary Ellen and Robert Hanna. Thank you so much.
You.
God bless.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.